Hello there, Biakamuso desu and welcome to my review of Hogwarts Legacy. This was a game that generated a lot of buzz because there are some controversy associated to stuff that J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, has said publicly on social media and all that stuff. And the game was being bombarded by trolls and people that were saying that you are a bad person. I'm really simplifying the matter, but that they were basically bullying people that were playing Hogwarts Legacy. Fortunately, I didn't have to deal with that. I'm not sure if I will have to deal with that after this review comes out, but apart from that, I think I just want to start this by saying that people should really separate the artist from the art because people say a lot of things, and one is the things that you do in your professional environment, and the other is what you do about your personal life. That's why there's a saying, never meet your heroes, because you will understand that they are flawed human beings like all of us. And I'm not here saying I'm not defending J.K. Rowling in any way. The whole matter actually flies over my head because I'm actually not a big fan of the books. I've said this more than once, but I tried to read one of the books. I think it was The Goblet of Fire, and I found the writing boring. It's not the kind of writing for me. Sorry, I apologize beforehand to anyone that really enjoys the books, but it's not the kind of writing for me. I do love the movies. The movies are really well done. I know they skip a lot of information that is displayed in the books. Some things they do better, some things they do in an incomplete or worse way, but it is what it is. And Hogwarts Legacy doesn't pick up on what is the timeline of Harry Potter, but picks up on the lore and the world building, and that the game does tremendously well. I'm not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to Harry Potter lore, to Hogwarts lore, whatever you want to call it. But I do feel like the game is really well done, and you can see a lot of care and a lot of love put into this game. It's really one of those projects that you feel that is made from fans to fans, and I think we really have to appreciate that. So, with that out of the way, let's move on to the actual game and experience. So, Hogwarts Legacy follows the story of an original protagonist, and it happens, I think, around mid 1800s, more or less. I'm bad with dates, so bear with me. So it's at a time where Dumbledore is not even a thing, so he's not giving away Gryffindor 100 points each time. So we have Professor Black here. So we have someone from the Black family who's actually the director of Hogwarts, and he is banned Quidditch. So if you Professor Black doesn't have a lot of fans, but after that move. And after everyone complaining that they really wanted to have Quidditch because the game is so complete and has so many things for you to do, but then it lacks Quidditch. But you do have some broom racing, so yeah, look forward to that if you like to fly on the broom. I heard people complain about this, but for me it was not really an issue. But coming back to the story, so you are an original character and you are a 5th year student at Hogwarts. You're actually on the way to your first day at school when the flying carriage that you're on ends up attacked because you were with Professor Fig, your mentor, and he was talking about secret affairs right in front of you, I guess, about a mysterious key that no one knows where it was. So you have this mysterious box, and you as the protagonist are able to see traces of ancient magic, and you can actually see how to open this small box. The box actually transforms into a key, a port key, that leads you to a vault in Gringotts. And thereon you will start an adventure related to finding stuff about ancient magic, how this is not really a forbidden kind of magic, but a well-protected one because it's only meant for those that are able to see it and wield it. Those are special wizards, which you are one. And it's kept as a very good secret because it can be really powerful and it can be really bad, really misused in the wrong hands. So you will go through a lot of trials for you to be able, for the keepers of these ancient magic to understand if you are able to wield and to really protect this kind of magic, because they have had an experience with someone that didn't respect the boundaries of that magic, didn't respect its power, and ended up creating something horrible, something terrible. And then you have, of course, the villain that will try and will hindrance your way all the steps of the way, which is Ranrock. So we have a goblin villain, so we're at a time where wizard kind and goblin kind don't have the best of relationships, although there are a few goblins that you meet along the way that you make a special connection with you, like Lodgok, who's a friend of Sirona that owns the 3 broomsticks. So yeah, you have a lot of connections, a lot of characters to meet, and this whole plot about wizard kind and goblin kind being at the brink of a war, and Ranrock wants to harness this ancient magic because he caught wind of this and wants to use it to basically, I guess goblin kind has been suffering slavery because it's not looked upon as an equal to humans. So they have been looked down upon, and he wants to create the same thing but reversing the roles. So you have this entire plot, and you have, of course, the subplots for the characters that you meet along the way. We have to really talk about characters like Sebastian and Natty, because those will create a very good friendship with you and will have very important stories. Poppy also, and then I think the Ravenclaw equivalent is supposed to be Amit, but Amit isn't really developed, but we will talk about that. So you have basically a relationship for each house. So the proeminent Slytherin is Sebastian, the Gryffindor is Natty, Poppy is the Hufflepuff, and then you have Amit, but Amit just introduces you the stargazing thing, identifying constellations. It's a good extra stuff to explore on the map, but doesn't really develop Amit as a character, so Then you have Poppy. I really enjoyed Poppy. She's the Hufflepuff that really cares about beasts, and she has a very interesting plot because her family was actually a family of poachers, and you can see that she loves animals and she's fighting for their freedom, for their rights, and seeing as she's attacking poachers and knowing this about Poppy and how this is like a self-redemption story, it's really interesting. Then you have Natty. Natty basically, she was in Uganda, I think that's her country, and she was there with her parents, and basically there were some bad wizards. I will not say who they were. I think they were like bandits, because you fight bandit camps with her, that were out while she was with her father in the middle of the jungle, or the forest, I'm not sure. And they are animagus, so she comes from a family of animagus, so they are able to transform into animals. I think she transforms into a deer, a gazelle, maybe a gazelle, I think. And she was with her father. Her father moved to protect her, and he ended up dying in the process. And she's looking for this justice / revenge to compensate for what happened to her father, and then at the end she's able to solve her trauma because she ends up putting herself on the line of the attack to protect the protagonist, and she understands what drove her father to do the same and how she's not to blame for what happened to him. And then you have Sebastian's story. I must say Sebastian has the most interesting story, but it just made me hate the character by the end of it, because Sebastian has his sister Anne, who's cursed. And you will meet this trio, so it's Sebastian and Ominous. And in the beginning, I didn't really appreciate Ominous because he seemed like a little bit snob, and he seemed like he was always a little conflictuous with you. But as you go, I felt like I started to like Sebastian less. In the same proportion, I was liking Ominous even more as the story goes on. So Anne is cursed, and Sebastian is trying to break the curse that has hold of her. And basically what they know is she was cursed when their town was attacked, and she suffers from pain to time, and they think, because they saw goblins attacking the town, that it was a goblin that cursed Anne. And basically you discover with the story that it was actually Rookwood, the wizard that is pairing up with Ranbrock, because he says the same line: children should be seen, not heard. And then you have Sebastian trying to break this curse. His uncle is a former Auror. He's always telling Sebastian, give up. He's a little bit too strict in the way he treats Sebastian. But I understand there's no solution to the curse, but Sebastian doesn't give up, and he ends up trying to find solutions through dark magic. It's with him that you can learn the 3 curses, the 3 unspeakable, forbidden curses. So yeah, I will give you a spoiler. I was a Hufflepuff for the entirety of the game, because that's my... I had no doubts that I'm a Hufflepuff, and of course I chose to not learn any of the curses. I wouldn't. And it's really shocking when at the end of his storyline he uses Avada Kedavra on his own uncle, and he isn't even sorry. I mean, he's kind of sorry because he sees Anne's reaction and her sadness, but at the same time he says stuff like, he kind of forced my hand, why did he have to be so stubborn up until the end? So he's kind of blaming his uncle on what happened to him. I don't know. I mean, I do agree that Sebastian's uncle didn't make things easy, but I think in his own way he was trying to tell him that he shouldn't cling to magical solutions. I mean, this sounds kind of weird in this context, but he shouldn't be looking for this miraculous solution just because he believes there may be one. And he was really going down a really dark path. I guess this is a perspective of an adult trying to reason with a kid, because yeah, the children portrayed here are not that small. I mean, they are what? I don't know exactly what a 5th year is equivalent to here, but I guess they are 14, 15, so they are smart and intelligent, and they understand what is happening. But at the same time, they are kids. They are looking for... They don't grasp the entirety of the situation. And yeah, you were faced with a very difficult decision, but, well, I think it is a decision, but I was like, no. Sebastian is down a very, very wrong path, and I will send him to Azkaban. So that was the end of my side quest with him. Me and Ominous talked about it and decided to send him to Azkaban. And I don't think you know anything more about that. You know that Ominous speaks to Sebastian one last time before that, but other than that, you don't really know what are the consequences of that choice. I don't know if there's some way for you to protect. If I could have said, no, just leave him in Hogwarts walking around after committing murder. And Since we're talking about that, one thing that I noticed in this game is that people don't really react to Avada Kedavra. And I'm not saying it in the sense, oh, you use the curse and no one bats an eye, because I don't have that experience. I'm speaking even during the story, because you see the keepers face off against Isadora. Isadora is very important to the plot because she was another fifth year, just like the protagonist, that showed an ability to control ancient magic, and everything starts because she wants to take away her father's pain. So her father has been depressed since her brother's death. I think it's something like that. And she sees the ancient magic as a magic so powerful that can remove negative feelings from people. And she does that with her father. I don't know how good that is. I agree with the keepers. That is something that she should not use magic for, nor meddle with. But I mean, her father does look happy. And then she keeps going and using the magic on people, on her own students at Hogwarts, because she becomes the teacher at Hogwarts. And I don't know, it's just so weird. Because she also does that in one of the keepers. I can't remember the name of most of the keepers, but I remember she also uses, without any kind of warning or consent from the other party, she just takes away the negative feelings and she sniffs them. Isadora is all kinds of weird, but I guess it's to not make you, because you can see where she's coming from. I mean, if you had magic and if you could take away the sadness and grief of people, I mean, what's so bad about that, right? That seems a very good way to use magic to take away other people's problems. But at the same time, they are feelings and people can't really grow without dealing with them. And yeah, and she also becomes, like I said, addicted to breathing them in, because it gives her a power surge of some kind. Not really sure what happens there, and she just stores these feelings that she takes away from people, and that's what becomes the vaults, the repositories that Ranrock is looking for. And of course, Ranrock will be able to actually access them, even though we are in kind of a race against him, and we will have to fight his final form. And let me tell you, his final form is a pain. He's a spammer. Of course, it has a very specific, it's not something new. You already saw that mechanic before fighting other bosses, but he's a pain. He's really difficult to deal with. But yeah, it makes for a memorable fight. I was kind of stressing because he has more than one phase. I don't remember if it's like a total of 3 phases. And at that point, I was even at level 34, and I was like, if I'm having trouble, how the hell are people that are able to get here under this level? Because I'm supposedly a little bit over leveled for that time, because you are able to finish the game before reaching level 34. But of course, I was so invested in doing all the side quests and doing the Merlin trials as you go along the way. So let's talk now that we've talked a little bit about the story, let's talk about game mechanics. The game is really user-friendly. It's really fun to play. The mechanics work really well. The fighting mechanics. You have different spell slots, so you will learn spells along the way as you go to the classes, as you do assignments for teachers, and also from some side quests, some moments of the story, you will expand and learn a lot of spells. What I recommend is having, but the game also gives you this hint, always have like a red, a purple, and a yellow, and then you can choose for the 4th slot another color. I chose red too, so essentially I would have something like Confringo, Bombarda, and then either Levioso and I think at some point, at most of the game I had the Pulso, at least at the end part of it. And yeah, you have a lot of spells to choose from. Also Glacius. Glacius is a lot of fun to use. I also had that because it freezes your enemies. Each spell actually has its own advantages, and it's really interesting to see. It's not just a matter of the colors to break down the guard of enemies. It's also a matter of seeing how they work for you, because they have side effects or special effects depending on the spell. And I think that is really well thought out and really well done. Of course, your base spell is Stupefy, and you have Protego, and sometimes when you do the Protego and hold the triangle button for the Protego, you will also do a counterattack immediately, which is a simple Stupefy, but it will stun your enemy for a while, especially if you use your talent points to upgrade that ability. So, of course, in this game you also have not really a skill tree, because that doesn't... it's not really a skill tree, but you are able to upgrade some stuff that you do, being able to remain in stealth for a longer time, being able to take the maximum out of your potions, like the Wing and Well potions to heal you. A lot of different stuff. So use your talent points wisely. I basically didn't spend any talent points on the dark arts because I wasn't going to learn them, so I just spent them on the other stuff. And I do recommend, in the beginning I was like, why the hell do I want more than one spell slot, more than one group of them? But really, do get them. You do need them. It's so much easier when you have the four combinations of spell slots, because you are able to basically put most of the spells that you need. You will also have your room of requirements. I had a lot of fun just changing the decor of the room to fit my taste. And you have so much stuff that you can do there. You will talk with Deke, which is the house elf that is helping you per Professor Weasley's request. So yeah, and you are able to grow plants, make your own potions there, and have your beasts, your magical beasts, because you are able to collect them in the wild. There are spots where they are, which are their natural habitats in the world map, and you are able to capture them and keep them for your leisure in the room of requirements. And of course, if you take care of them, you are also able to collect their items. There's a thingy, I'm not sure, a piece of furniture that allows you to use items and other things to upgrade your clothing. Honestly, I was collecting so much clothing and so many pieces of armor and all that, and always having to sell them because inventory space is very limited for all the stuff that you gather along your adventure, especially if you explore as much as I did, that honestly I didn't feel the need to do that, to do those upgrades. Because yeah, you just get so much stuff just by exploring, and they already come with special effects or protection or just enhancing certain spells. So I didn't feel the need to use that. So I do recommend that you do the Merlin Trials. If you are like me and you are a hoarder and collecting everything that you see, using the Merlin Trials to expand your inventory, because they give you that as a reward, is very good. And also, the Merlin Trials are pretty easy to do and fun. I struggled with a few because I was not really understanding what was the spell I was supposed to use in certain situations, but I'm pretty sure you're able to figure it out. Since I was a Hufflepuff, so let me tell you how I decided my house. I will say that the game kind of disappoints you on the house test, but the one big thing that they have, the big feature that compensates for that, is the fact that they allow you to link your Pottermore account, which now is not longer called Pottermore. I think it's the Wizarding World account. and I had everything there. I had my house that I already took the test for. I already had my wand because I also took the test for that, and I also had my Patronus. But the Patronus doesn't really matter because although you see a cutscene for a Bogart class, just for the reference, I guess, it's not really an interactable one, and you don't use the Expecto Patronum spell in any situation. So yeah, but I was with my house, and I was also with my wand. Of course, anyone that wants can build their own wand, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people had fun with that. I'm happy I was able to use the one that was assigned to me like a true Ollivander experience. And I think that's it. The game is very immersive. It has an amazing soundtrack, very in line with what you hear in the movies. And I think it's just a treat for Harry Potter fans. As in Hufflepuff, they say that there's an exclusive scene for each house. I'm happy with the one from the storyline, mind you. I was really happy with how my house solved that situation, because as a Hufflepuff, you are able to visit at a certain point of the story Azkaban. So I got to see the inside of Azkaban, and it was actually a pretty intense scene, so I'm really happy with that. And the experience is just amazing. Interacting with the different houses, doing different side quests, it just expands so much the world and the interactions of the protagonist. I will say that it seemed that whoever made the game, well, there's a lot of people involved, but there wasn't much love there for Ravenclaws. I know there is a theory circulating that is pretty big right now that says, oh, because the game was thought, even though you can choose your own house, the game was thought for the protagonist to be a Ravenclaw. I mean, I can see that, but as I say, Ravenclaw is the house with less side quests. Ravenclaw is also the worst representation, in my perspective, in the game, because like I said, you have Amit, which isn't really a character that interacts a lot with you, and then you have, I forgot his name, but the guy that went for the first that gave you the flying tutorial. But yeah, so Ravenclaw, I wish they had a character like Poppy, Natty, and Sebastian, which are the best to build the friendships with. And I do encourage you to do their stories up until the end. The map is huge, you have a lot to explore, all the Floo Flames, I actually collected all the Floo Flames, got a trophy for that. I ended the game without doing all the stuff in the map because there's just so much to explore, and it is really fun, so I do encourage you to try the game. The game does have flaws, of course. I mean, for PS4, I think the game is not fully optimized for the PS4. It feels like it was really made with the PS5 in mind, because the doors just take too long to load. The loading screens are just so long for you to transition, and sometimes the textures or the bugs are frequent. The textures just they aren't the best. So yeah, the game is not perfect, but it's really well done, and it really honors the Harry Potter fans out there. There's a treat in every corner of the game for a fan. So yeah, do give me your opinion on this game if you have your thoughts to share. What were your favorite characters, if you agree with my perspective? What was your experience, your exclusive scenes, side quests, moments that were engraved in your memory? And if you like this content, please like the video, subscribe, don't forget to check my Twitch channel to see what I'm playing right now, and I hope to see you next time. So may music always be your life force.